So you're thinking about moving to the UK, or maybe you've already moved and are wondering, wait, is this really what I signed up for? Before I moved here, I had this picture in my mind: beautiful cities, great job opportunities, free healthcare, and a comfortable lifestyle. Well, let me tell you, friends, reality hits differently. Today, I'm sharing my honest experience about life in the UK, the good, the bad, and what no one tells you before moving here. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and comment below if you can relate. Let's go straight to number one: cost of living. Let's start with the biggest shock: money. The UK is expensive, and I mean expensive. When I first got here, I thought I could save a lot of money, but rent, council tax, transportation, and even groceries eat up your income. Now let's look at rent. If you want to live in London, be ready to spend half of your salary on rent alone. When we got here to the UK, we chose to live outside of London, and we settled in Birmingham for over a decade. And even in Birmingham, the rent are also high. If you live in cities like Manchester, Bristol, they have high rental prices as well. Now let's go and talk about bills. Bills, my goodness. The money we spend on bills is alarming. Where do we even start from? Is it energy bills, which covers your electricity and your gas? Is it water bills? Is it the council tax? Is it TV license? Because I pay TV license. And if you have a car, you're looking at road tax as well. That's another bill for you to pay. And then your car insurance. All of this adds up. Now let's look at groceries and shopping. Some items are affordable, but if you love fresh food or you want your African or Asian groceries, be ready to spend more. If you love your African food, be ready to spend more. But if you want to, eat and get used to the British food, they can be affordable depending on where you choose to go and shop. And budgeting is a must here in the UK. You must learn how to budget. If you're moving, make sure you research housing costs before choosing where to live. Because I remember when my husband was getting ready to come over to the UK for his studies, for his masters, and when he decided then that he wants me and the children to come over, we started doing our research back home, looking at housing costs and weighing our options and see how much we were able to live off when we get into the UK. That's when myself and the children moved in to join my husband. Now let's move on to the second thing I want to talk about, which is on job market and work-life balance. A lot of people move to the UK expecting high salaries and a comfortable lifestyle. But finding a good job can be challenging, especially as an immigrant. And most immigrants that I know don't have age on their side. Most immigrants that I know, they are well in their 30s and in their 40s, and you're coming into the UK job market to compete with um, people in their 20s and people who actually have lived here all their lives. So it can be very daunting. The struggles of looking for a job, depending on your visa and qualifications, finding that perfect job, that good job, can take time. Some fields are very competitive, and employers will always ask for UK experience. An immigrant coming into the country, where do you want that immigrant to gather the experience from if you don't give them the opportunity to even get the experience? And so you find out that when immigrants come in to UK with their qualifications back home, no matter the field of work that they wear, because of this lack of UK experience, you find most immigrants going into jobs that do not necessarily require UK experience. Jobs like cleaning jobs, caring jobs, some warehousing jobs, some hospitality jobs. Yeah, because you some of these establishments or some of these organizations will train you, because these kinds of jobs, like in the care jobs, the cleaning jobs, the hospitality jobs, the warehousing jobs, you hardly find the citizens or the British citizens, indigenes of the country, going in for those jobs. You mostly find foreigners, immigrants doing these kinds of jobs, and these organizations will train you. Let's talk about the work culture in the UK. Jobs can be stressful. Be ready to work long hours, and there are high expectations, and sometimes there is very limited opportunity for career growth. The first job I had, and should I say the first company I worked for, which is the only company I've ever worked for in the UK, I met people who have been in the same job role, in the same level for over 20 years, 30 years, doing the same thing. Now, it's either there was no career growth path for these people, or they were just happy to be doing the same kind of job year in, year out, and not looking forward to anything. But you just have to make up your mind and be determined to break away from that kind of monotony. Now look at commuting in the UK. One thing I'm thankful for and I'm so happy about is the fact that the UK has great transport system. But rush hour, you see this thing they call rush hour, it is not a joke. And if you rely on buses, be ready for delays. And even sometimes trains, they do have delays sometimes, but trains are very, very expensive. The key here in getting a job in the UK is to find a career path that allows for growth and work-life balance. If you have skills in tech, healthcare, or in the construction industry, you'll have far better opportunities. Let's now talk about the weather. It's not always sunny here in the UK. One thing I never fully understood before moving was the weather. If you love sunshine, you're in for a surprise. The UK has lots of great days, rain and cold winters. Sometimes the sun sets at 4 p.m. on winter nights. This can affect your mood, and a lot of people experience seasonal depression in the UK because the weather can be so gloomy and dull. But on the bright side, when summer comes, everyone is outside enjoying. In fact, when summer comes, my first summer in this country, I was shocked because you're walking down the streets, you see people, the way they dress, and you'll be like, my goodness, that was one of the shocks I got. But anyway, we moved. Let's look at the social life and the cultural differences here in the UK. The British people are one of the most politest, if there's anything like that, or the only polite people on earth. But making friends isn't always easy here in the UK. Unlike some cultures where they're very open and welcoming. In the UK, people tend to keep to themselves, especially in big cities. I'll give you an example. In my former area where we were living, we had this neighbor. Although she tried, and we did try to have a relationship with her, but because you know how it is here in the UK, you don't go to your neighbor's house. Unlike back home in Nigeria, I can go to my neighbor's house and sit down and have a conversation and even have dinner with my neighbor, and my neighbor can do the same with me. So it turned out that this neighbor of ours had passed on. She had died. We didn't know. We didn't know where she died, whether she died in the house or she died outside of the house. We only got to find out one morning that her things were being moved, and out of curiosity, we asked what's going on, where is the lady, and we were told that she had passed on. So that's how terrible it can get here in the UK, where people keep to themselves. And British politeness, people will say sorry even if they have bumped into a table, but that doesn't mean they want to be friends. For one to make friends here in the UK, you have to put in the effort. You have to engage in socializing with people in church, the gym, or in a workplace event. They have this pub culture here. Drinking culture is huge. A lot of socializing happens at pubs. So if you don't drink, it might be tricky for you. I guess if you don't drink like me, the best place to socialize will be in church and in your workplace. One of the biggest perks of living here in the UK is the NHS. There's free healthcare, but free doesn't necessarily mean fast. In some areas, getting a GP appointment can be very long. It can take a very long time. But I am blessed and fortunate that the different areas we have lived, we've always had same day GP appointment. We have the emergency care here, which is the A&E, accident and emergency. It is great for serious issues, but again, waiting time can also be very long. And then we have the private health care, where people pay for private insurance to get faster treatment. If you can afford it, why not? But overall, it is a huge blessing to have free health care, but patience is needed. So now let's look at what's great about the UK and what's not. Let's look at the pros. The UK is safe and has structured systems in place. There are good job opportunities if you find the right field. It is a multicultural environment. You have access to education and health care. And let's look at the cons. What's not so great about the UK? The expensive cost of living. Weather can be depressing. Making friends takes effort, and there's a lot of bureaucracy, paperwork, long waiting times. So is life in the UK worth it? It depends. If you plan well and have realistic expectations and build a support system, it can be a great place to live. But if you can come expecting an easy life, you might just be in for a shock. So that's my honest take on life here in the UK. Do you live here or are you planning to move to the UK? Let me know in the comment section. What's your biggest concern or surprise about life in the UK if you live here? Guys, don't forget to like this video, share it to someone who is planning or considering to move to the UK, and subscribe for more real life content. And of course, do not forget that I love you with the love of Christ, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire.